Hey students, Pastor Ryan here. You might recognize the background. I'm actually in our old church sanctuary, and it's kind of nostalgic, to be honest. We used to do youth group in here all the time before we went over to the celebration center. I have a lot of really great memories of you guys in here, one of which was when we broke the blinds. And I remember playing hide and go seek in the dark and all sorts of fun stuff in this building. And so I was actually walking through and thought I would talk to you guys from here because I love this building. It's just a building. Obviously, our youth group is our youth group, and it's still the same even in the new building, but I have a lot of great memories in this building of you guys, and missing you all right now as much as I am. This was a great place for me to be. One thing in the next week, our jar is still filling up with names, and the activity I have for you, I mentioned it on Monday night. I'll be doing another Monday night coming up, but the activity that I have for you is I want you to find somebody, a friend or family member that you want to encourage, and I want you to take a picture with them or get a picture of them. I want you to post it on social media or send it to me, text me. But I want you to say something encouraging about that person. Maybe something they've done for you, maybe just that they're a great person, they're a great friend, or what have you. But if you post it on social media, tag The Rock. If you text it to me, let me know that this is based on the activity that I sent out for you guys. This Monday night at 6:30, I'm going to do a Monday Night Live, and my special guests are going to be you guys. I want to actually talk to you guys. I want to have you on. So if you show up, I want to hear from you. We're still going to be talking a little bit on our topic of love-hate, but I want to interact with you on live, which definitely makes me nervous, but definitely check in that night because I want to talk to you guys. I think it'll be really fun. So we're wrapping up our series, Love-Hate, and we talked the first week about gossip and how destructive gossip can be to our relationships. Last week we talked about stepping up, right? When we need to say something, we need to get involved in a situation with a friend or a family member, maybe that's struggling, and how we do that in a loving way, how we don't do it in a judging way. Today, this is a really tough topic. Today we're going to talk about just how we view other people and the judgments that we make in our mind about other people. It made me think of like big companies like Nike. When you think of Nike, a lot of times you think of what? Their slogan, right? Just do it. If I sing da 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 da, I'm loving it, right? McDonald's. Everybody thinks of McDonald's. Companies spend millions and millions of dollars branding themselves, right? They're getting this reputation of that when something happens, people will think of that thing and they'll think of their company. Well, I think about it with us personally and with myself personally. What do people think of when they think of Ryan, right? Same with you. What do they think of when they think of you? Is there something that comes up and automatically they think of you? Or if they see you, your name comes up, what do they think of? We all have these reputations that we've built. I've told a lot of you guys this story, but when I was in high school, I was with a friend that I played sports with, and he smoked cigarettes, and he gave me one, and I tried it, and I hated it, but other people saw me try it. Well, what happened? If you guys remember the story, I got branded at school as a smoker. I was suddenly part of the people that smoked, and I kind of got lumped in. I had this reputation that I never really wanted based on one event, one single thing that I did. Well, I want us to think of it on the flip side when we're viewing other people, the people around us. What is it that you think about certain people? See, a lot of times the way we view other people is kind of like that story of me in high school. It's based on experience, right? It's an experience, and it might just be one experience that we've had with one of our friends or a family member or maybe just an acquaintance. And now that one experience is that person's reputation to us. I think sometimes the way we view people has a lot to do with our own insecurities. right? We start to see our own weaknesses in other people, and it's a lot easier to point out their weakness and make it kind of more than it is so that it starts to hide some of our weaknesses. As we're talking about this idea in our series about love and hate, I think all of us want other people to see us as people of love, particularly as Christians. We want people to see us as people of love. So this can be a really hard thing when we make preconceived notions, or we have ideas, or we've given people reputations based on experiences we've had with them, almost judging them and making assumptions about them because of one thing or our own insecurities, like I said. Well, there's a story in the book of John. It's a story involving Jesus, and it really sheds a lot of light on this idea. And it's one of my favorite stories in all of Scripture, other than the story of the woman at the well when Jesus interacts with the woman at the well. This is probably another one of my favorites, top 5 stories in the Bible, particularly with Jesus. And it's in the book of John. And Jesus had been dealing with these religious leaders and Pharisees, these experts on religious law and the Mosaic law in the Old Testament. And they kept trying to trip Jesus up. They would ask him questions. They would confront him with situations, trying to trip him up and trying to prove in their own minds that he was some type of phony. I mean, he was getting all of these followers, and the bulk of his followers were kind of people that were really outcasts in that society. And these Pharisees, these religious leaders, they wanted to be the ones that had the followers that people looked up to. And so in John chapter 8, verse 3, this is where our story begins. Listen to this. It says, as he was speaking, they're talking about Jesus. John's talking about Jesus. As he was speaking, the teachers of religious law and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. She'd been caught in the act. So there's no doubt about it. She had been caught in sin. She was caught in the act of adultery. They put her in front of the crowd. Teacher, they said to Jesus, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. The law of Moses says that we're to stone her. What do you say? And they were trying to trap him into saying something that they could use against him. So in this particular instance, the law, which they were all experts on, demanded that everybody was to pick up a stone and start throwing stones at this woman who was caught in sin until she was gone, until she was dead. A pretty harsh punishment. And they wanted to confront Jesus, knowing full well that most of his followers were outcasts, and trying to trap him, because if Jesus said, yes, that's what we're to do, and we all start doing it, then most of the people that are following him who were sinners, who were outcasts, they start to lose faith and hope in who Jesus claimed to be. On the flip side of that, if he says, well, no, we don't stone her and we don't listen to Mosaic law, then he kind of starts to give up his integrity as a teacher of Scripture. Well, the story turns out amazingly very Jesus-like. And I want to keep reading. We're going to start back up in verse 6 of John chapter 8. It says, but Jesus stooped down and wrote in the dust with his finger. They kept demanding an answer, so he stood up again and said, all right, but let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone. And then he stooped down again and wrote in the dust. When the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest, until only Jesus was left in the middle of the crowd with the woman. Then Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you? No, Lord, she said. And Jesus said, neither do I. Go and sin no more. Again, much as Jesus does, he found the perfect words to say. He knew exactly how to handle a situation like that, to not lose those that had found so much hope in him, but also not give the Pharisees and religious leaders what they wanted in this idea of trapping him. And ultimately, his answer, in my opinion, gives hope not only to the woman, but it also gives hope to the religious leaders, right? I mean, they weren't wrong. Mosaic law did state that at the time. However, which of them hadn't gone against Mosaic law? They all knew that they had sinned. They were just like this poor woman who they wanted to stone. But what did Jesus say to the woman? He didn't just let her off the hook and say, hey, you're fine. It's okay. Keep doing what you're doing. No, he said, I don't judge you, but go and sin no more. Jesus changed everything because in this situation in particular, he responded in love, right? This woman had a reputation, and it was based on a pretty big issue that she had been caught in, right? A big incident that everybody knew was factual. But Jesus responded in love. We talked a little bit about this idea that you can bring up certain things and automatically we have a tendency to fill in the blank. And we do this with people, right? That person, and we fill in the blank. Here's the lesson for today's students. Let love fill in the blank when it comes to others. Let love fill in the blank when it comes to others. I want us to take these steps. I want us to think about how others have filled in the blanks about us. What do you think others think about you, right? Maybe based on one incident, maybe based on their own insecurities, maybe on something very factual, something you were caught in, a lie, or you really hurt somebody. I want you to stop and think about what others, or how others fill in the blanks about you. And I want you to think about how you've possibly wrongly filled in the blanks for someone else. How you've wrongly filled in the blanks of someone else. And maybe you haven't even wrongly filled in the blanks about somebody else. But really, here's the thing, and here's where it gets kind of personal, is maybe you have a tendency to assume that somebody, I don't know, doesn't belong, right? Maybe you think you don't belong. Maybe you think the other person will never change, right, based on what you know about them. Maybe people like that, or maybe it's people like me, or you feel like it's people like you, they'll always be fill in the blank. They'll always be that. Here's the thing. Thoughts like that, assumptions like that, statements like that, they take the Christ out of our Christianity. Thoughts like that, statements like that, take Christ out of our Christianity. There is no Jesus in those types of thoughts. Jesus responded in love. Jesus filled in the blank with love. Students, that's what I want to encourage you to do. I want to encourage you to take those people that maybe you've formed an idea about, you filled in the blank with something negative, or maybe it's just an assumption that has given you a pretty not accurate view of somebody else. And I want you to start filling in that blank with love. Students, I love you. I miss you. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a good day.